Hi everybody, Michelle McClunan here, astrologer and life navigator, and I'm bringing you an astrology update for the next full moon, which is on the 3rd of July, and it's in Capricorn. So there's quite a lot going on astrologically, but there's a lot of ability this month to transform, to let go, and to actually build the new. So there's lots of different influences, which I'll try to unpack for you. So when we look at the full moon, obviously a full moon is where the sun is in one sign and the moon is in the opposite sign. So this month we have the sun in Cancer, along with the planet Mercury, which is the planet of the mind, and both of those are opposite the moon in Capricorn. So what does the moon in Capricorn mean? Well, this one's actually got some favorable aspects to it, and it allows us to really work with the energy in a positive way. It's in a beautiful alignment with the planet Jupiter, which is the planet of abundance and expansion. It's seen as a beneficial planet. So the full moon in Capricorn, Capricorn is the sign of, it's commonly known as the sign of the mountain goat, the goat that heads up the mountain in a very practical, grounded way and gets to the top of the mountain. And even if he falls, he'll get up and carry on going. Capricorn is the sign of endurance and resilience and patience and persistence. And very often Capricorn people with a lot of Capricorn in their charts, are able to actually set goals and steadily kind of make their way up the mountain. But the other sort of mythological connection to Capricorn is the sea goat, which is basically half goat and half fish, which suggests that the sign of Capricorn is able to scale the mountains, which would be the goat, but is also able to go deeper into the psyche, into the spiritual connection, if you like, deeper into the ocean and navigate the kind of the deep waters of the soul. So I love that connection, particularly in this full moon. So if we look at the other influences that are actually around at this full moon, Neptune, which is the king of the ocean, has just turned retrograde. And when Neptune turns retrograde, it highlights the energy of Neptune. When any planet turns retrograde, the energy of that planet is intensified. So Neptune goes retrograde in the sign of Pisces. It takes a very long time to move, but while it's retrograde, which happens on the 1st of July, it kind of intensifies the energy. And that's been building up for a few days. Now that can be on the sort of shadow side of Neptune turning retrograde. It can feel like there's a veil that's come over everything. They can feel that there's confusion. For some people, they might feel that the illusions are kind of coming up to greet them and saying, here they are. These are the illusions. Look at them. Look at false evidence appearing real, which is fear. Look at it in the eyes. And Capricorn says the same thing, because Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn, which represents our fears and our challenges. This full moon I see as having two effects. The one is to show us where we're actually living in illusion, the fears that we have that might not be true, the situations that we find ourselves in that might not be working for us. And it shows us the illusion, but at the same time, it kind of creates a little bit of a fogginess and a bit of a confusion. So you might find yourself changing your mind, or you might feel people around you changing their minds and shifting. It's a very shifting kind of energy. So it's the ability to be mutable and shift the energy and go deeper into the core, at the same time to look squarely at the face of our fears. And actually look at them and say, okay, this is a fear. This is being shown to me at this time so that I can actually transcend it and I can actually surmount it. I can scale up the mountain. I can get to the top of my particular mountain and not be hampered by my old patterns and conditioning. The other thing that kind of backs this up is that Pluto, which I often refer to, Pluto is the planet of transformation, transmutation. Pluto has been moving through the final signs of Capricorn and is, as we know, has just gone into Aquarius and now it's going back into Capricorn, and this is going to happen until next year because it moves very slowly. And whenever Pluto changes a sign, It's a big deal because it only changes the sign once every 20 years or so. So Pluto at the very final degrees of Capricorn into Aquarius is actually squaring what we call the nodes of the moon, which is the destiny axis. And so what this is doing, it's transmuting and helping us to clear generational wounds, generational patterns. So when we find ourselves in the grip of those very old patterns that we kind of thought we had sorted, or when we find ourselves going into the fears that we thought we had actually transcended, it's not to be too disturbed by it because it's supposed to happen. This is supposed to be a time where we're actually clearing those old generational patterns so that we can actually move into a new vibration, into a new world for ourselves. And this is the action of Pluto. Pluto is the planet of evolution. It's the evolution of the soul. And it's working with all of us in a very big way. So a lot of people are experiencing challenge. A lot of people are saying to me, gee, I really thought I had actually transcended this, and yet here it is again. I'm back in the same place. And it's just to remember that we're not back in the same place. We're actually spiraling upwards, if you like. We're not just going around in circles, even though it feels a little like we're going around in circles. So it's just to know that if things are coming up, it's to feel them and to see them, to see the fear, to see the insecurity. This full moon is shining the light on the Sun and Mercury in Cancer. Cancer is all about security. It's about money. It's about sort of financial security. It's about our sense of safety. It's about our family, our home. So when we have a Capricorn full moon, it shines the light. The light is shone on any insecurities that we might have around those things. So those things that need to be cleared. So I think that this full moon is actually saying to us, what do we need to clear? What do we need to drop? What baggage am I still carrying? What is the same pattern that I keep going around and around and around? It might be a pattern of victimhood or blame, where I'm in a situation I don't feel comfortable in it, so I'm blaming somebody else. And Capricorn says to us, we need to take responsibility for wherever we are in our lives. So even if we're in a difficult place, Capricorn says to us, you can transcend it. You have the strength, the maturity to transcend the challenges and to scale that mountain, to get to the top of that mountain, whatever that is for you. Not to be held back by the emotional baggage and the conditioning, the conditioned beliefs, but to actually see them, feel them. Cancer is the sign of feeling, and the Sun is in Cancer. So it's to feel those feelings, to allow them to flow through. Maybe they're feelings of sadness, maybe they're feelings of fear, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's resentment. Whatever those feelings are, it's to allow ourselves to actually feel into them and allow this energy to flow through. Neptune, being in Pisces, retrograde, is actually helping us to allow the flow to actually move through us so that we can actually move into a healthier story. That's what I believe this energy is about. It's incredibly transformational. This energy, I don't think we have any concept of just how much we are shifting internally, even though it might feel like we're going backwards. So I just want to give you a little bit of solace there. You're not going backwards. You are moving forward, but it might not be visible above the ground because we're all in this process of transformation. It's that process of the caterpillar going into the cocoon, dissolving the old patterns, dissolving the old attachment to the form so that something new can be born. And we don't know what exactly that looks like. So we need to be trusting the process of life as opposed to clutching onto a specific thing that we want to happen, which then puts us into resistance because then we're actually saying, I'm not happy here. When's it going to change? I need to be over there. And that means that we're actually missing the point. So this is very much about being in the process of what's going on, not trying to escape it. If a fear comes up or insecurity comes up, face it, feel it, because that's underneath the surface and it's been working with you underneath the surface, possibly for generations, possibly for past lives. The nodal axis is the past life karmic axis. So the stuff is coming up for all of us on one level or another. A really beautiful thing happens the day after full moon, which is that the sun is aligning with the star Sirius. And that'll be happening from the 4th to the 8th of July. And in mythology, Sirius relates to the spiritual sun. And it's a very powerful, very positive alignment. It says that it helps us to release the limitations and to actually, it activates awakening and spiritual connection. So I see that as actually a beautiful thing to happen, alignment to happen after this full moon. It's kind of clearing the way so that something new can arise. It's also showing up to our responsibilities, taking full responsibility for where we are right now, for the choices that we've made, not blaming it on anything or anyone else. We have written our scripts, even though it feels like sometimes somebody writes them for us. On the soul level, we wrote them. So it's to take responsibility for that and say, okay, taking responsibility for this, how can I move forward with the challenges? How can I move through these challenges? We need courage at this time. Courage is heart-based. It's I have the courage in this moment to actually accept this challenge and to move through it with maturity and responsibility. I am responding in a responsible way. So that's what I see the energy of the full moon telling us. And that just to remember that we have the strength to move through it. We have the strength and the resilience to move through the challenges as they come. So I pulled a card today, and the card that I pulled it out of actually this deck called the Wisdom of Oracle. It's Colette Baron Reed. It's a very beautiful deck. And the card Clean It Up came up, which was quite interesting because I think that with the energy that I've just been describing, it kind of works with that. So I'll just read you some of it. Essential meanings: getting to the core of a situation. Pluto will take us to the core of a situation. Freedom from a burden. Cleaning house, Pluto. Sweeping away what is no longer needed. Neptune, Pluto, Capricorn, all of it. The Oracle's message: ever feel so bogged down with emotional gunk that you can't think straight? Could you be surrounded by physical clutter in your home? Too much work? Overwhelmed by too much happening? Time to clean house. Every item out of place natters away at you. Every unresolved resentment, every comparison to others that leads to a sense of lack takes up energetic space. Every unpaid bill adds up to unnecessary feeling of being overwhelmed. Now is the time to free yourself by energetically cleaning house. Just do it. Make room for the miracles that are lining up for you. So I think that really does tie in a lot with that Capricorn energy, the Neptune energy, with the Sirius energy. It's almost like miracles are lining up, but we've got to clear the way for them. And we have to ask for help as well. So the relationship message, because this pack's got a relationship message: time to clear the air. Take a look at your side of the street and say what's on your mind. Sweep away the old stuff so that a spring breeze can flow through with new energy. It's the perfect time to do an inventory of your dynamics and see what's yours and see what's not yours to clean up the relationship. Everyone brings some baggage. Sort through what is brought by you and let go of what is no longer needed. Become unencumbered and your relationships will flourish. Prosperity message: simple things like opening your mail, paying bills, sorting out your timetable, making lists, getting organized is what this symbol means when it comes to your work. This is very Capricorn. Make time for yourself too. This card is a sign you may be overburdened and overwhelmed. It's okay to say no. You'll prosper even more if you do. The protection message: is it possible you may be focusing too much on other people right now? Trying too hard to be helpful? Does taking on what belongs to others make you feel needed or desired? Perhaps you think it's your calling to relieve people of their burdens, but what is the cost to you and what is the cost to them? Don't clean up someone else's side of the street. You're not helping by freeing him or her of responsibility. You're also not doing yourself any favors, and you might be adding an even greater strain. You are loved as you are. You don't need to be needed to be loved. You are already love. So over the next couple of weeks, we've got a lot of movements happening astrologically, but a lot of them are positive. I think if we show up and we allow ourselves to be present for what's happening and for what's arising, this has the potential this month to clear a lot that we don't need away and to help us move into the new with a greater sense of joy, with a greater sense of peace, with a greater sense of love. So thank you very much for listening. I hope this has helped. And I hope that you get some time to nurture and nourish yourself. That is the theme of Cancer after all. And just an announcement, my partner John and I have another Journey to Freedom course happening, which is quite beautiful because it's happening in July. And July is the month of so much change. The nodes of the moon are actually changing into the sign of Aries and Libra, which really is a new lunar nodal cycle, which actually is sort of helping us to enable ourselves to actually awaken and move into a higher state of consciousness. And that is what our Journey to Freedom is all about. So we invite you to join us for the first week free. It's called the Foundation Week, and we give you a lot of teachings and a lot of info and a lot of value in that week. And then you can actually join us for the full journey if it resonates with you. So you can find out all about that on our website, journeysofawakening.com. If you like this video, please subscribe and push the notification button. I put up an update every 2 weeks for the full moon and the new moon. And if you'd like a reading, you are welcome to contact me via my website. The details are below here in the description, and we can set that up for you as well. If you've had your chart done before, it's always a good idea to see where these energies are playing out in your chart. So thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful full moon. And remember just to come back to that center place, which is where your power is. Thank you.